it seems like there's a lot that goes into making even the simple greeting card like this one. It can be easy even for beginners if you just break it down into basic parts. I'm Barb, and this is Random Crafty Acts. This video is at the beginning of a card making basics series. I'm going to walk you through what it takes to make a card like this one. Today we're going to start with the card base. All right, I'm going to talk about what kind of cardstock I use, and then I'll show you how to cut it for A2 size cards. And then each video is going to cover one step in the process, and when we finish, you'll be able to make simple cards like this one from a basic card sketch. So let's jump in. All right, this is the basic card. This is what's referred to as a side fold. Okay, you can turn it this way and open it like that. All right, so what do you start with cardstock? I use plain white cardstock. I donate the majority of my cards, and that falls in line with what they are looking for. This is 110-pound index weight paper. Okay, that's one of the kinds of paper I use, and I've got two sheets of that out because we're going to cut it in two different ways. Okay, something else that I use at times is referred to as craft paper. The brand I buy is a little bit heavier than 110 pound. Okay, I'm not sure exactly what the weight is on this. I found this, it's a Astro Bright, I think. See how it kind of looks like parchment paper? It's about the same weight as the base I normally use. It works for some color palettes that I work with. All right, these two, there's a white and a cream. I went on a big shopping spree, and it was before I really understood the weight of cardstock. So while this is 110 pound, it's referred to as cover and not index. And I discovered the hard way that made a really big difference. This is the kind of weight that if you were making a booklet that you would use this for the cover. Now I still use it in card making. I just have to be careful about what I put on the outside of the card when I decorate it, so that it doesn't make the card too thick. Okay, but and I have some white that is basically the same weight. It's also cover cardstock. All right, so there's no need, if you buy one that's not quite right, there's no need to, like, I don't know, nobody throws anything away. It can always be purchased, repurposed in some way. And then the other thing about the card bases is some people use color cardstock for the card base, and there are some companies that sell color cardstock that is, in my opinion, heavy enough for a card base. Most of the time, the color cardstock that I see in the store that is readily available is 65 pound, and that's the weight that I cut card layers out of, the things that go on the front. So this is a piece of scrapbooking paper that had this pattern on it, and this layer that's here is not 110 pound. It's more like 65 pound. Okay, you can make cards out of 65 pound cardstock if that's what you have. All right, so let's just start. So this is a basic guillotine cutter. I have a great big one that I use for heavy duty jobs, and I'm going to take just a second. All right, I'm going to put we are going to be cutting a card base for a 4 1/4 by a 5 1/2. Okay, so this is going to make a side fold type card this way. All right, I line it up with the 5 1/2, this off. I've tried to do it a couple of times because it sometimes feels like it's in my way, and I have come very close to cutting myself. So, all right. The next thing I do, because for whatever reason, sometimes paper is not 11. It's supposed to be 8.5 by 11, and sometimes it's not. This piece looks like it is. But I just get a little sliver, and I probably didn't need to do that. Okay? The next thing we do is fold the paper. Find my scoreboard. Okay? Again, there's 2 ways to do this. I have to be honest, I usually just do it manually. I don't use the score but some people like to. So you want to put this at 4.25. Okay. Fold the card over. And the reason I don't is because a lot of times it doesn't quite come down. I just use my fingernail. Okay, I'll show you the other way I do this. And sometimes when I'm sitting and watching a video or whatever, I will just cut a bunch of these and have them all made. And I usually store them like this and fold them when I get ready to use them. The other way is to just like line the edges up. Just make sure they're even. This is referred to as a bone folder. I don't know why. Okay, nobody folds bones that I know of. All right. Okay. So out of one piece of 8.5 by 11, you get 2 card bases. All right. Now I'm going to show you the other way that we can cut it. And let me get a sample. Okay. This is, some people call this the top fold. Okay. And the card opens up this way. You don't usually mail it and fix them like this, though I have received some like that. But the big thing you can do with these is you can stand them up. Okay, and so if I'm making a card that I think someone is going to want to display, I will use this pattern. It's not my normal go-to. All right, to do that, I have to get out my other paper cutter. This is a basic piece of equipment that most of us end up with some version of this. These things, the blade, they do wear out. And it's easy to tell that they wear out because when you look for them in the store, they sell them in packages of 2 and 3, which is usually a pretty good indication that you're going to go through a lot of them. This particular one, I can take this out and put a thing in that would allow me to do the creasing that we just did. I don't typically do that because these little ends are really pointy and I keep sticking myself with them. Okay, so this one we're going to cut at, since this is the 4.25, right? So we're going to cut this at 4.25. And you just want to like line it up with the lines. And when you buy one of these, I like the ones that have the extra edge over here because it makes it a little easier to cut thin strips. Okay. And again, I put the factory edge at 4.25. And just to make sure it up so that it comes off smooth. And you're going to notice that this edge is kind of frayed. That's the first indication you get that you probably need to change the blade, but I'm not going to do that right now. Alright, so again, I just line this up, pull this forward, back in with my bone folder to make sure I've got a nice smooth crease. Alright, so there's one. If you want to do it this way, you would put this down. You can find your thing that rolls under your stuff. And I don't usually do this because that is not, I don't think that's 5.5 there. So I'm not going to take a chance with that. Like I said, it's not something I typically do. I just rely on the bone folder to crease it out and folding it. Okay? Alright. So we have 4. Now we're going to go ahead and cut. I'm going to go ahead and cut this one for an A2. This way, when we go into our the rest of the series, we'll have several card bases already cut. Okay, so this was 5.5. Remember? And I'm pretty sure this one always comes out at 11, but again, I like to double check. And the only reason that ends up making a difference to me is if, also make sure you put that down. I've slid my hand in under there a couple of times and almost cut myself. You get the idea that I'm kind of clumsy. My husband wouldn't let me have a crafting knife for a good while. I had to prove to him that I could do so without hurting myself. There are people who do this with scissors. I really admire them. I say that because, you don't need a whole lot of stuff to make basic cards, okay? We buy stuff because it's fun, and we learn all kinds of things out there on the internet that we'd like to do. But you don't have to have those things. If you're wanting to make cards, and you don't have a lot of money to put into equipment, don't let that hold you back. Alright, and then we're going to cut this. I have said before, and if you watch if you click down there on my channel name, you'll see that I've got playlists out there. And the playlist for basic card making, there's an introductory video that actually has my face in it. I don't put my face in when I'm crafting because I can't figure out how to make my phone do that and be able to move back and forth between the two things. And also, I don't want to have to worry about my hair or something while I'm trying to make sure I don't cut myself. Okay, so you notice that this one, make sure I cut it at 5.5. I did, yeah. And you have to, as far as which company things are exactly 11 or exactly 8.5, you get used to that. Okay. Most of us find a brand that we like in a price range that we like because they're out there in a variety of price ranges. Stuff that goes on sale. I get all of my cardstock through Amazon right now because that works for me. That was the extra one I pulled out of my stash. Okay, and then there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and fold these. Let me check my notes. Yes, I do have notes, so I can make sure I cover everything. Okay. Like I said, I store them flat, mostly because it's easier. See, this is just so hard to fold. I store them flat because the storage area that I have is well suited to that. Everything I know about card making, I learned on YouTube. And the reason I'm doing like these basics is, when I first started, even the simplest, the videos that were the simplest, they would like jump right in and they like, I pre-cut my cardstock, and it's like, oh, okay, well, I don't really know how to do that. And so there were a lot of times I was finding myself like, I would get so tangled up at the very beginning and just trying to do one of the very basic things that I felt like I didn't get as much out of the experience, or I wasted a lot of cardstock. So let's say you're cutting and you're not paying attention and you cut one of these short. Just hang on to it, because when we start doing layers, which is we're going to do in the next video, which are these things, you can everything you do can be cut down and used. The other thing that you'll find out there on YouTube is lots and lots of different ways to make decorate cards or embellish cards. That's one of the words that you'll hear me use. We don't necessarily decorate as much as we do embellish. You're going to find that there are lots of videos out there on using scraps, and that's because you can't paper craft without creating scrap. Well, you can. One of my favorite people to follow, who I'll be introducing you to, she puts together templates that you can follow to mass make cards and to not create any patterned paper scraps. Now you end up with cardstock scraps, but not patterned paper scraps. Okay, those. All right. So we are all set for some card making, and I'll be moving through a series of videos. In the next video, I'm going to go through card layers, the layers how to figure out what kind of layers to do, and I'll have this up on the screen long enough that you can do a good screenshot of it and explain how you put the mats together. Okay? As far as where this is in the decision-making process, deciding that you're going to make an A2 card is probably your first step. Some people make 5x7 cards. I don't. I don't make 5x7 cards because I can only get one card out of a piece of cardstock when I do that. The other reason is you get into different size envelopes, and the envelopes I buy in bulk, and the ones that the A2 cards fit inside, that works really well for me. So you decide what size cards you're going to make, and that's a personal decision, and then you decide how you're going to embellish the outside. Are you going to use patterned paper? Are you going to cut something else out? Like images off of a calendar or a magazine, or or are you going to buy with the patterned paper? You can buy little pre-cut things that you can put on it. So you decide that, because then that kind of gives you your color palette that you're working with, and then you can make a decision about this. In the long run, I always use white. I have a supply of this, and I do use it from time to time. The reason that I stay away from color cardstock card base, because the place I donate to wants it to be blank on the inside, and they want to be able to write on it. And if it is any darker than this, even with this, I will put a piece of white on the inside here and here so that they can write on the inside. Okay? All right. If you have questions, please put them in the comments below. I would really appreciate if you would subscribe and like the video. That helps me with the YouTube algorithm that everybody talks about. And I will see you in the next video.